This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the 9th annual LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California. With me right now is Jim Leslie from Ascendant Solutions, publicly traded company with the symbol ASDS. Jim, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on our program. So for our audience, let's start with an overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
Well, really, we are a retail pharmacy company based in the Southwest, primarily in Texas. We have a store also in Oklahoma. Our goal is to continue to expand that throughout the Southwest. We're looking to buy more pharmacies, independent community pharmacies throughout that area of the country.
Let's get a little history of the company. Have you always been in this space? Tell me about it.
Well, actually, it started back in the early 2000s. We bought a company that had gone public in the dot-com era, and it really stubbed its toe, as most of them did. And we wound up buying that organization's stock from the founder to get control of the cash and the net operating loss carryforwards. Early on, we acted as a public company that was doing private equity deals, one of which was the pharmacy. We bought this particular pharmacy, Doherty's, out of bankruptcy court in 2004. It'd been around since 1929, been there forever, was an institution in the city of Dallas. And we went out and bought some other companies as well. We learned through the process that really we weren't very good private equity guys, and we got rid of everything except the pharmacy. And we've expanded since then to where we now have 6. We started with 1, now we now have 6.
So tell me a little bit about the pharmacy. So it's Doherty's, that's the name of all of them?
That's correct, Doherty's. It started by a fellow named Jack Doherty back in 1929. Supposedly he got robbed by Bonnie and Clyde sometime in the past, but I've never verified that.
It's not in an 8K anywhere, right?
No, I haven't filed that anywhere, but supposedly that happened.
So tell me a little bit more about the retail pharmacy industry. I want to get it at a glance. How big is this market? Tell me about it.
Well, the market itself is huge nationwide. It's over $80 billion, just the independent part. And there's over 22,000 independent pharmacies throughout the United States, 1,600 in the state of Texas. And most of the independents are at a point where they want to have some type of liquidity event, some type of transition. And so a lot of them are coming to us and talking to us about it. The other alternatives are some of the big boys. CVS primarily has been buying a lot of the independents over the course of the last few years. So I would view them as being a bit of a competitor for us as we talk to these independents. But so far, we've been prevailing pretty successfully.
And what's the secret sauce? I mean, what is it about Ascendant Solutions where an independent pharmacy will say, okay, well, we might prefer to be under their umbrella as opposed to a CVS?
That's a great question. And really what we found is that the independent pharmacists really enjoy the independence that they have in the community. They become a fabric of the community. They do a lot of compounding, which you cannot do with CVS or Walgreens. They also have some inventory, primarily durable medical equipment, that you cannot have within those big organizations. So what they find is they have to just sell their scripts at some price per script to one of the big boys, and everything else gets shoved aside. So with us, they're able to continue what they have been doing. We also keep the lead pharmacists on staff if they want to be. We found most of them want to continue to work in the community from anywhere from 3 to 10 years, and we're fine with that. So we give them a lot more flexibility in addition to probably a little bit more money than they would see from one of the big boys. So you add it all up, we've got everything that they're looking for, and we continue to win in those battles, one-on-one battles with the big boys.
So tell me a little bit about Doherty's itself. Where are their locations? What's the type of foot traffic or average foot traffic, and maybe the size of the populations that surround not each of the location, but maybe in aggregate?
Well, how I answer that question is very difficult because they're very different. Our store in McAlester, Oklahoma is very different than our 2 stores in Dallas, Texas. But our average store does almost $8 million in revenues. That compares very well with Walgreens and CVS. Most of the independents do between 3 and 4. So we do well on a per store basis. And a lot of it is because of the service that we allow and the different things that we do that the CVSs do not do. But if you look at the demographics, they vary dramatically from market to market. Like, for example, in the Dallas market, probably 75% of our sales are what we call third-party pay, which means they're reimbursed by insurance companies. You go to McAlester, 90% of our sales are third-party pay. And so they're a little bit more price-sensitive in McAlester than they are in North Dallas.
So what's your criteria when you're looking to potentially buy a new independent pharmacy, retail pharmacy?
Well, they need to be profitable. We have a hard time fixing things that have a lot of hair on them. So if you go into an organization that's losing money, I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out why they're losing money and trying to fix it. They have to be a certain size. If we can't turn a $1 million pharmacy into a $10 million pharmacy. So I found that the business is fairly sticky, that your pharmacy you've gone through for years, you don't change unless you move. And that's true all over the country. So I can't turn a 1 million to a 10 million, but by the same token, I probably won't turn a 10 million into a 1 million. So for the most part, the pharmacies need to show sales of at least $5 million, and I can grow that close to the CPI every year, probably 4% a year, but I'm not going to grow it dramatically beyond that. So they have to be about 5 million in sales, have to be profitable, and they have to have an owner that has a good reputation within the community that wants to continue to stay on, or has a very strong number two.
And what's your background? How did you get into Ascendant Solutions?
Well, I grew up in the public accounting arena a long time ago. You can tell I'm no spring chicken. And then I ran a company for a while from an operations side that was in the real estate services business. So I understood the quality of the service and the importance of really thinking about the other guy. And then I did a lot of real estate as well, both retail and commercial, and a little bit of multifamily. But I understood what it takes to make the numbers work. So if a retailer comes to you and you got space you're going to lease to them for $60 a foot, in my little example in Texas, there's only a handful of retailers that can afford $60 a foot. So I understood from that perspective how much we could pay from the real estate, and then we wound up just getting a lot of experience throughout the 2000s by looking at so many different companies. And some of them are companies that don't have any revenue but have the hockey stick expectation that they're going to solve cancer or something, the revenue is going to go through the roof. We looked at those companies as well, and they're exciting to look at. It's the type of company you're either going to make nothing or you're going to make $1 gajillion. We're kind of boring. We're not sexy in that respect. Our cash flow is pretty stable.
So where can our audience go and find more information about the company?
Well, they can go to our website, the Ascendant Solutions website. That's the name of our company, which it seems kind of weird that our company's called Ascendant Solutions, and our stores are all under the Doherty's brand. So we will probably change that name, but for now they should just go to ascendantsolutions.com. They can learn all about us.
My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're here at the 9th annual LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California. With me again is Jim Leslie from Ascendant Solutions, publicly traded company with the symbol ASDS. Jim, thank you so much for joining me.
Robert, it's a pleasure for me to get to be here and spend time with you. Thanks a lot. Thanks.